Hey everyone, happy holidays and welcome back to Clay with Bae.
Hi, guys.
I know it's been a little while, we went on a little holiday break there, and I know we left off the last video sort of trying to find contact information. I was a little sensitive because of the fact that I don't want to show people's exact emails for YouTube reasons. And so I've had to sort of hide that process, and I'm going to briefly walk through what we did, like just super fast, like walk through how we set up the exact flow. So let's edit that group. I encourage you to go to full configuration every time. And we ended up using Prospeo, ICPs, Lead Magic, and Wizza. And we use dbounce for our validation provider. I think it's still key only. And so you will need a dbounce key. If you don't have dbounce, I recommend probably that you use Lead Magic or Kit. I would say that those are the best ones. You can try it out. Dbounce, I think we've seen the lowest bounce rate. I think Never Bounce also works okay too. There are a couple that I haven't had the best luck with personally, like Zero Bounce and Find Email, but I don't have a large enough sample size to say, like, obviously these are enterprise level tools. I'm not going to like insult them and say that they don't work, because they do. Just my own personal experience, dbounce is the one that I use. So we will be leaving a referral link to all of our tech stack in the comments in the description starting from now on, so that you guys can use our links. Some of them are discounts, some of them are just referrals. Obviously we appreciate anyone signing up with our links. So you're gonna, for this specific email waterfall, you need the full name, the company domain, the social profile URL, and the company name. We found everybody's LinkedIn, so we have that. We have the org name. We have the full name. Some of the other steps in the waterfall, other tools you can use, will require different stuff. Like I think there's even one that you need like a mobile phone number or a Facebook to find profiles for. I just recommend you keep it simple. Last time, I think we also started to talk about diminishing returns, and we've talked about this in many Clay training sessions that I've done that weren't recorded in the past. Just constantly go over and over into this issue where the more steps you add to the waterfall, the more credits you will spend per found email, right? And so I really encourage most people to think about their lists like sort of a military campaign and less like a surgery, because you can spend so many credits trying to find an extra one or two emails off your list. I think our general hit rate is like 50%. But if you add like 7 to 10 waterfall steps, you're gonna run into situations like what happened here, right? Like you don't find an email, and then you do find one, but it's not valid. And then basically what happens using the settings that we've been using, which I'll talk about, is it will try again. It will try to find the email again, because ICPs and Lead Magic don't talk together. And so when it's going to go find, and if it finds the same email, you might think, oh wait, what the heck happened? It found the same email again. But it's not. They're separate tools in the same waterfall. And so like Clay isn't like telling everyone, hey, don't go find this email. And we've had clients and people that we've worked with be like, whoa, what happened? I spent 40,000 credits here. When I run through the math with them of each tool costing generally 2 credits to find an email, and then 1 credit to do the validation. Generally, the costs are like 50% more than that. So you could spend, like, on finding like 14,000 people's emails, you could easily spend 50,000 credits, which might be your entire plan. And so yeah, I would just be careful there. I think that the sweet spot for most people is to use 1 or 2 to buy the APIs, like Prospeo, ICPs, Lead Magic, Wizza, and then to just use that within Clay. And then if you want, you can add a couple other credit spending steps, but I would not go beyond 4. I think that the sweet spot for most people maximum is 2 to 3 steps. And that's why I'm not really a big fan of the native Clay waterfall that Clay gives you when you sign up, is it just spends a ton of credits. So my tip would be get like a $30 ICPs plan, or get a $99 Lead Magic plan or something like that, because unless you're sending out like thousands and thousands of emails, that's going to be way more than enough for you. So General advice, not going to apply to everyone. One thing that we also added here is that the ICP must be qualified. So as you can see, we have a bunch of people in this table that we found from the companies before. We did things a little backwards. We qualified the companies after we found people. So we had to go back, and if we ever change this or remove the view that we're on, I want a safety step. The reason why most people end up spending too many credits in Clay is they, number one, have the table. I think we talked about this earlier. Have the table on auto update. You should really turn this off unless you're advanced. And then number two is they have columns on auto run without conditionals like this, without this conditional. So like, let's say someone opens this table again, they add a bunch of rows to it. If there are not the run settings for the conditional here, like the ICP must be qualified, then these would just run in the background. Like you wouldn't even see them because of the filter. Like if you add new rows to a table for a microsecond there is no filter applied, and so it will run on all those rows. And we've seen a lot of issues happen with that. So, okay, that's basically one more thing I wanted to go over real quickly. Let's just, oh, I almost deleted it. Okay, so I only mark safe to send emails as valid. I think 99% of people should be marking that. We, same thing I was talking about, diminishing returns and people spending more credits than they think. I think that a lot of people think, well, what do you mean? I paid for Prospect, I paid for Lead Magic, I paid for whatever. Why are they returning emails that aren't valid? Well, that's because each service has different criteria for what is safe to send. And I always check this because we turned this off and we've tried it many times thinking like being greedy, we don't need this, and you end up spending way more credits than you expect. And then we require validation success here too. So you don't want invalid emails getting pushed to your final. This is our dummy emails row because we've hidden the actual emails, but you don't want that to happen. And so I know that a lot of people, like, I would think for their own business, like, I want to find as many people as possible. You're just gonna have to get comfortable with like 50 to 80% of your market only having emails, or only 50 to 80% of your market having emails. And then the rest, I recommend you run LinkedIn for. I recommend you find their mobile phone numbers and call them. Don't get too greedy on the step. I'd say for most people, it's probably not even worth it to use a what is it? It's catch-all email verifier. Like, I just don't think it's worth it. We have been experimenting with a few, like Enrichly and OrbiSearch, but I don't have a lot of data there yet. So, all right, that is a big spiel on this kind of stuff. But now we get to do the fun stuff, which is, let me just clear this out, which is basically like we've got like 90% of what you do in Clay left, which is using Claygent to find and manipulate data. And if you've done the Clay University course, you've got FET framework, which is find, enrich, transform, export. I find that the T in FET or transform is where most of the stuff happens. And we are in like the top like 0.45% of Claygent users, which we're a super small agency, which tells you how important Claygent is to us. We've gotten the not to brag, but the OpenAI plaque
Yeah.
for spending over 10 billion credits. Is probably closer to 100 billion. And so we use Claygent a ton, and it's how we're able to create unique campaigns. And really, the purpose of this Clay with Bae is not to show people how amazing of an email we can write, because at the end of the day, copywriting is subjective. The goal is to show you what data you can find using Clay and Claygent, and then give you the tools to create the best email in the world. Like if I was working with Clio or Practice Panther, they'd probably look at my email and be like, oh yeah, we already tried that. But we're doing a demo here, and what we're showing is how you can find unique data points using Clay that will create a convincing argument for your product or service. So I might not put them together in the right order or the right words, but I didn't make the offer. I'm not an expert on lawyers. So what I can show you is all this cool stuff we can find. So one of the things that we were going to do is to use Claygent to find how many lawyers are at each practice, right? So I think we did a little snooping. Like, I don't want to go to a specific person. I want to go to one of their websites, right? And almost every practice, from what I've seen, has a about us page, right? Their team. If I can stop misclicking. And so they've got all of their, sometimes all their employees. What we really want to find, we want to tell ClayJet, hey, I want you to go to their team or about or partner page, and I want you to return all. I want you to return how many. Probably the best way to save money here would be to just have it return how many people or how many partners or lawyers are working at the firm. But I was thinking, we've been running some interesting emails recently, which is like to find and talk about specific people that might not necessarily be named at the practice. Like, let's go back to that one practice that we were just looking at, like see if they're on this page. Liz Delhomme, is she on this page? Yes, she is on this page. And so it's strange because I don't think the other partners are on the list. So like, let's just look up the other guy and just see why did Clay's Find People not find him. So like, if we really wanted to do this right, we wanted to find as many people as possible. By the way, we have to do this in the company table because it would be really redundant, like we mentioned in some of the earlier episodes, to find company data for people. Waste of time. Don't do that. Okay. Did we start this? I can't remember which. It's been a while. As we all know, when you come back to a Clay table after a good week or two or month off, like sometimes you're like, whoa, who did this and why is this here? Cool. So we did this before, and I think I was just demoing that you can find people and you don't have to use Clay's Find People, right? And so it's super cheap. It's like not expensive to find people using Clay, but it's actually even cheaper and probably better for this specific niche that we logged all the people that were on the main page. So owners and partners was exactly what we were looking for. Owners and partners at this firm using the following data. I'm actually just going to get rid of the LinkedIn URL because I don't think it's that useful to us. I'm going to add on to this. We already sent some table data, so I'm going to actually, let's see. I told it only 3. I want all lawyers. I'm going to tell it, I'm going to tell it to navigate. So we talked about like how to return the data we want, what we want to return, and then the constraints. So I want you to navigate to the company websites about or team pages to find this information. And then I'm also going to tell it, lastly, I want you, and we don't need to put that, just for the total number of partners and lawyers at the firm. Okay, should be relatively easy for it to calculate. And this time we've seen web pages with like 50 lawyers. That's fine. It will probably run into some constraints with returning that data, but we're okay. So we're going to use 5.1 mini here. I'm going to downgrade so that we don't spend too much money. Okay. And then we're going to see what inputs are missing here. The website's blank. So did we never go find the website for some of these? No, that's definitely not true. So we're going to run these first 10 here. And I'm a weirdo because most people would, the smart way to do this would be go up here, go to run column, and then choose number of run, and then choose 10 rows, or run 7 rows starting from row 3. But I think it's faster on a small number of rows just to click. So, do you have any questions?
No,
Laura?
it's just more satisfying to click on each one.
Kinda, yeah. It's a weird. It's like I've got my own like habits when it comes to clay, and there's probably a couple experts watching right now who are like, "Yo, why is he doing it that way?" And feel free to comment below if I'm doing anything like really in a improper way. But okay, interesting. So let's just go to this website. I'm always curious when it's not able to find data, like what happened there. Interesting. About our team. Why were you not able to find anyone? Come on, this should have been a slam dunk.
Yeah.
So it's not perfect. And the list does not list individual lawyers or parties. That is a lie. I think that for our current use case, like, okay, our current use case is to write an email, right? We already have people to contact. But there's another use case where this information is useful for, which is to capture the target area market and for us to potentially email every single lawyer at the firm. Which I think really just doesn't make sense unless, like, for a first campaign, it definitely doesn't make sense. And I feel like a lot of our clients and students really spend too much time trying to find every possible person, which is good, but I think in the initial stages, it's fine to just grab a small scoop and run a campaign to them. And then you have this prompt that we can save as a template for the future when you have every firm that you could potentially want to talk to. But anyways, so this is fine for now. So we have some data here, like for this firm.
Would you recommend, or to be exact, how would you recommend the way to find these new people? Like work on the same table or just make a new table entirely?
Yeah, so this is not what we're doing right now, but the proper way to do this would to have like a master companies table. And we don't have that because I think we limited how many we limited how many companies.
Yeah.
So this is not that table. What you do once you find these companies is you write them to another table, which is your master companies table, and I can show people how to do that at the end. And then you take the people you found and you write that to a master people table, and then at some point when you are happy with the data that you have, some people do it when they've launched a campaign to these people. You upload them to HubSpot. People and companies to HubSpot, and then once you run your campaign, you take data of who you emailed and who replied, and you send that to HubSpot also. And I'm not saying HubSpot as it's like, I know everyone doesn't use HubSpot. It's just my general fill-in for CRM. So cool. Did it give us a final partner count? Reasoning does contain that. And I wonder if there's a way to pull the number from there. Let's see. Let's just see if we can pull out one of these as a column. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Let me just see if we can. How many items are on this list? I've never done this before, but I was. That's not what we want. Is this output? Okay, it's fine. I think it's fine at least. Okay, can you save it though? So it says 4, so it should be 4 for this one. Okay, yeah, it worked. I don't know why. I've never done it before. I usually just tell the original ClayAgent column to output how many people are at the firm. So cool. So now we can use that number to write an email. And remember, let's refer back to some of our copywriting ideas that Claude was giving us. We're in this case, we're pretending that Claude is the client, right? Which is, I think people kind of make that mistake. They try and use AI to replace their client's brain and their client's context and all their data. I think that's dangerous. If you went to one of these SaaS for lawyers and you went to all their best customers or all their customers, you'd probably find data that's different from what AI is saying because it has no context. And you probably even find data that's different if you did that analysis from what the client thinks. And And so if you own a company, oh boy, don't let me go on a tangent about this, but if you own a company and you are watching this video to learn how to do your own outreach, I would encourage you, and we should probably make a series on this eventually, is to take all the context, all of your sales calls, all of your customers, feed that into an AI. Like for people who don't have a lot of experience, Manus is probably the best one that can handle that large context. If you're more advanced, you can build something in Claude Code or Cursor or something like that. To take in all that data and tell you, like, if you think your best customer is about 4 or 5 lawyers, then that's great, but you really should find out for sure. Cold email and outreach in general is like it's a big ego check. Often people think they know what they know, and they get some very interesting email data back. And so, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. That the best clients we've ever had, the best companies we've ever worked with, were very open and willing to change when the numbers and the analysis was different than what they thought. Some people aren't willing to do that. It's okay. So target firms adding their 3rd to 5th attorney. So what we want to do now, I think that Claude's being a little too specific here. Like, let's say we only want to target personal injury firms with 3 to 5 lawyers who are who are actively searching for their next partner or lawyer. I guess you never search for a partner. You probably are just searching for your next lawyer hire. What would that list be? That list would probably, if I'm guessing, would be less than 500 people. Probably going to be a real banger campaign. But that's probably not all the outreach you're going to do. This product or service can be used by anyone with 5 to 20 employees. So anyways, without getting too ahead of myself, let's just see what the data was. So we already have a point here. So we're finding personal injury firms that just hired their 4th attorney. And that's when managing cases in Excel becomes a nightmare. This firm just won a big case, hired 2 attorneys, but their website still says faxes. I don't know if we can use this data. So what are we? This is the hard part of the Clay with Bae series, right? This is where we start to translate some of our data points into copywriting. And I think right now is probably a really good step for us to have like an email copywriting template, right? So show you guys how I do this. Email copywriting. I'm just going to rename this to campaign 1 for personal injury. Let's see, like 3 to 5 lawyers hiring. And we're going to come up with email 1. Subject line. And then we're going to do email body. Okay. And then email 2, we'll just do one follow-up to make things simple. Subject line and email body. Okay. Oops. All right. I really should have asked it for some more like concrete email ideas. We can do lead scoring too, which is a good. Do we have everything we would need to do lead scoring? We could for this segment. So if the attorney count, I think it screwed up here a little bit, is less than or equal to and greater than or equal to 50. Basically, that's very few. This is weird. This scoring system does not look right to me. Okay, we have the attorney count. We have the practice area. We do not have tech stack, and we do not have growth. So that's probably the next step for us. We have the first parts of the email, which is, let me see, this. Okay. So this is the first part of our, and so what I would do at this point is we would take what we have. So we'd have, what is the data that we want to put into the email, or that we will eventually have, right? And some people like Eric Noslowski say to do this the other way. Write the email that you want to write and then fill in the data blanks. But because, you know, I don't know a lot about this client, I'm going to go backwards. And we're going to say, what is the data we have? We have the employee count. We have the partner lawyer count. No. I'm just going to put these in brackets so we kind of know that they're variables to insert into an email. We have the practice area. In this case, it's just going to be practice area equals personal injury. We have the practice location, company website, company LinkedIn, and we are going to go find hiring data, growth data if we can. It's not, it's nice to have. And so I'm sure that with this data, Claude can come up with an email that doesn't completely suck. So one thing we could say, like, we could just copy this and we could take this to, just take this to Claude. It's a little messy. It's fine. So I am creating an email that would work for Clio or Practice Panther. And when you give me suggestions, I'd like you to say for which one it fits best with. And I would like you to come up with a short, under 50-word email that potentially utilizes each of the data points that we have found in Clay. And the goal would be not necessarily to book a sales call, but to start a conversation with someone and really show them that we know them and that we have something relevant, that we've done our research, and that doesn't approach them in a sales pitch slap way. So that's not perfect, but we're speed running here. We're speed running. And V2 of Clay with Bae is probably going to be a lot better. This one's cringe. Congrats on recent hire name. Yikes. Okay, let's give it some context. So, like, let's take some email idea advice from Josh Braun and Jed Marl. Oops, sorry, Jed Marl. How do I spell his name? Dang it. Yeah, I think it's this. Jed Marl. Marley. Damn it. And rewrite these.
Hopefully it's better now.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to. I think what would have given us a better output is if we gave it
an example.
Yeah, like a couple, like a CSV of our 10 examples.
So would you recommend writing some samples before we do this?
I would download the Clay sheet that we've been working on for 10 companies. This is perfect. This is kind of exactly what I wanted. And it's hard to do this in a demo because I'm not doing any research outside of our demo. So I'm doing my best here, guys. So I like this one.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's a good one. Option
1, pattern interrupt, which is fine. Employee count, people. The subject line sucks bad, though. We'll figure out something else. Is this the rewritten ones? It really didn't change that much. How are you tracking cases? There's no data here. Yeah, these are not great. The one we came up with is fine though. So this is the copywriting stage of our email writing. And it's not easy. Hold on, let me just get this to align here. All right. So we have the number of partners. Some of these are going to be inaccurate for now. It's just fine. We're just sprinting to an email. And so before I end this video, I just really want to quickly look at some historic growth data. And I haven't used Clay's growth data at all, to be honest. And so it might be crap. Or I should say, like, it might be inaccurate for the company size that we're looking at. Because it's just been such a long time. Okay, so we have sales. We don't have this. That's optional. Final website. Okay, perfect. Only run if, I'm trying to get us in the habit of this. Only run if owners, partners count is, no, why aren't you letting me type here? Is greater than 2. Does that work? There, that should be fine. I don't care about this. Is this gonna, do we already have growth data? Oh no, we don't. This is very specific data. So percentage employee growth over last month, we don't care about. We really want it like over the last year, I think is a good metric. And we want employee count 12 months ago and employee count 1 month ago. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. We're just looking for examples here. If this were your own company or your own client, you would know what time frame works. I'm just pretending like I know. Percentage employee. Wow, this company lost half of their people.
Do you think it's accurate?
It's not everybody has LinkedIn. Not everybody updates their work on LinkedIn.
Also, it might be tricky. Like last time we checked, and it was just people who are under the role of something, and it counted them as a worker in the company or an employee.
Yeah, there's tons of problems that come up. You really don't, like, that brings up a good point, is that inaccuracy is just like a part of the game.
Yeah.
And we have clients who, like, and we've seen students and people deal with the same issue where you send an email that has the wrong data in it and somebody will get mad. You just drop your source if you can. So if you were to write an email with the headcount growth, using the growth enrichment that we just used, we can say like, hey, I found this from LinkedIn or LinkedIn data. Like, don't crucify me if I got it wrong, right? That's usually something I'll say in an email, like, hey, this is the data I found. Let me know if I'm wrong or something like that.
Yeah, it was purely LinkedIn, just being a little interesting.
Yeah.
The way they do things.
So we're gonna find active job openings, and we can use Lead Magic for this. There's not a waterfall. We could make one if we wanted to. What does this waterfall have in it? It doesn't have Lead Magic. And I've never used this before. So we usually just use Lead Magic for active job openings. And okay. So Clay Manage Lead Magic account. No, we have our own, I think. No, we don't anymore. I think we just use it up for this month. Okay, we have everything we need. So why is this, what did we do wrong here? Waterfall output. Results. I'm gonna have it. No. We're just gonna have to be happy with total count for this one. So this is fine. This is fine. I'm gonna put it in order of cheapness so that we don't spend too much money. Okay, and then let's be careful here. Let's only run it on the owners or partners. Owners, partners count has to be greater than 2. I'm just gonna run it on 10 rows. All right, sorry guys. Stretch my leg. We're doing this very casually today. 17 job openings. I am curious now. 9 jobs found. Okay, so that's good. What are they hiring for? Junior marketing assistant. Not what we're looking for. We are really only trying to find people hiring lawyers. And so we're probably seeing a lot of duplicate job postings. Trilingual assistant. Trilingual assistant. Administrative assistant. Junior legal assistant. And often what I'm guessing what could be happening here is that it's probably pretty rare for somebody to be, oh no, this is perfect. They are hiring a lawyer. So that's super good data. That's a super nice signal for us. The problem is we're gonna need to come up with some sort of prompt to analyze this data and tell us, oh, it did find some jobs here. Immigration paralegal, inbound sales, immigration writer, associate attorney. So they are hiring another lawyer. Unfortunately, this group, how much law are they doing? How many laws are they doing? Oh man, I should have picked a niche that I have more experience in. Hopefully you guys aren't. Yeah, this is not qualified. I don't know how this got categorized as personal injury.
Maybe there's a little section in their website.
No, this seems like a super bad fit. Super bad fit. I'm gonna run this again and just see what comes up. It might be that I think a better way to do the search for it, we should have done like a Google search for keywords, using like Serper or Rapid API, but that's for another video.
No, it's still true.
It's okay. I think another thing that we have to accept is just that, you know, when you have a list of hundreds of people, probably a couple of them, AI is just gonna flub. You know, it's not gonna be correct. Something went wrong here, right? Like the website's incorrect or something. But that's okay. As I tell everybody that I work with, everybody that I train, don't stress out about it. Like, you can only have so many checks, right? And I really think for your list, like having like 90% accuracy is something that you should get comfortable with. 95% accuracy. The cost of getting to 100%, diminishing returns. Okay, so now we have all the data we want. We're going to be able to find people with open jobs. We find their growth. So we see some really strong signs here. People that are growing, how many owners or partners there are. And I think we have enough to write this email that we want to write, and then we'll call it here. Yeah. And we might expand this range a little bit. Yeah, like 3 to 5 or 4 to 6 or something like that. I think it's better to overestimate how many people are working at the company rather than underestimate. But I could be wrong there. So this is going to be our first email. This subject line, or this this is the subject line. Wait, what? This is I think it screwed up. Man, Claude, you really let me down here. It's also using Sonnet 4.5. Let's just rerun this with Opus. I'm on the wrong account. Um, we'll do that next time. For now, we know the data we want.
Yeah.
Um, is this email great? No. I think the quick question is fine.
It's just an example email. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. This email is not. It's like it's a mid email, right? It doesn't have anything that's super relevant, but it's like pretty good. One thing we could do is like we could extract from their job posting like some of their criteria, right? So let's like go to one of these, especially the one for the attorneys. Okay, attorney, litigation attorney. They're no longer taking applications. That's one thing that I didn't plan for, was that their job postings might there might have been something that I missed there. So that's fine. What were they looking for, right? So one thing I could do is just take this. I can just say like, I'm going to post a job posting for a litigation attorney, and I want you to come up with a blurb about how Clio or Practice Panther solve some of the problems that are listed within this job posting, skills or qualities or something that relates what they're looking for to what Clio or Practice Panther can help with. That's like my go-to prompt for when I'm trying to create an email and I need to quickly connect data that I have to the copywriting. So this episode's running really long. You're looking for someone who can develop and implement case management plans with excellent. Even this it pretty much did exactly what I was looking for. Looking at your job posting, you needed somebody who can manage litigation cases from inception to resolution with. It's a little bit too sloppy, but that's exactly where firms your size hit the wall. Brilliant litigators buried in course. So like we could just relate case coordination with what Clio does. You're looking for someone to implement and develop and implement case management plans with. Even the great attorneys struggle when they're managing 10 plus litigation matters simultaneously without proper infrastructure. So this is good. Like this is on this is on target, right? So I'm just going to post this into our research for the copywriting. And we will next time directly turn the job posting language into a problem solution phrase. Okay. Any other questions while I'm doing that? Can't let me talk the whole time. I'm just kidding. You don't have to come with a question. But yeah, so I definitely like, as a GTME or outbound specialist, like you're trying to tie together data points into an email that actually is good and doesn't suck, right? And I'm also trying to think of when I'm creating this emails is like, I don't want to just do this one time. Like even just one campaign isn't that useful. How can I turn this data and like standardize finding all these data points for any table that we do in the future, templatize it, and then be able to simultaneously use all those data points to adapt to future changes in the market and future changes in our offer, right? So I know that this specific episode went really deep into some of the stuff and you guys might have a little bit of whiplash, but I promise we'll get there in the next episode. So thank you for hanging in there, and this is where things kind of slow down a little bit and we really, really get deep into how does someone use this expensive tool called Clay to create actually good campaigns? Hopefully, you will understand. Bye, guys.
Bye.